In a move that has sent shockwaves through diplomatic and defense circles, Canada has stunned Washington by rejecting a $20 billion U.S. nuclear submarine deal, a decision that disrupts decades of close defense alignment and shared military strategy between the two nations. The Pentagon had long anticipated that Canada would opt for American-built submarines, but Ottawa's unexpected choice signals a bold, independent direction in its defense policy, one that prioritizes national interests over traditional alliances. U.S. officials are left reeling, deeply concerned about the future of North American security cooperation and the stability of joint defense initiatives. The Trump administration had viewed the deal as a major economic and political victory. Its rejection now represents not only a significant financial blow, but also a diplomatic snub that could have lasting repercussions. Now, industries and workers on both sides of the border are bracing for possible trade tensions and economic fallout as the once solid alliance faces its most serious test in years. Canadian leaders insist that pursuing an alternative path is essential for their country's security and sovereignty, even if it means risking strained relations with their closest and most powerful ally. This single dramatic decision has put the U.S.-Canada partnership under a microscope, forcing both nations to reconsider the very foundations of their alliance and what the future may hold for their cooperation on the world stage. The U.S. offer emerged under the looming shadow of the AUKUS Pact, a groundbreaking security agreement that was already reshaping alliances in the Indo-Pacific. This pact united Australia, the UK, and the US in a historic partnership centered around sharing nuclear submarine technology and deepening military cooperation. Washington, eager to expand its circle of trusted allies, hoped to bring Canada into this exclusive club, promising not only advanced capabilities, but also a seat at the table for future strategic decisions and closer military ties. Yet, Canada's exclusion from the original AUKUS deal was a bitter pill, leaving Ottawa feeling sidelined and wary of joining late, especially if it meant accepting terms dictated by Washington. The American pitch was undeniably tempting, offering to modernize the Royal Canadian Navy and strengthen the broader alliance, but it also came with significant geopolitical baggage and strings attached. Aligning with AUKUS would have pulled Canada much deeper into the escalating US-China rivalry, raising the stakes far beyond simple military procurement and potentially impacting Canada's global relationships. Canadian officials carefully weighed the risks of joining a controversial bloc, debating whether the benefits of advanced technology outweighed the loss of strategic autonomy and the diplomatic fallout. In the end, the political and diplomatic costs of accepting the offer ultimately outweighed its technological allure, leaving Canada to chart its own course in an increasingly complex world. As the US deal faltered, South Korea stepped in with an $18 billion offer for 12 advanced KSS-3 conventional submarines. The proposal included technology transfer, domestic production, and thousands of Canadian jobs, an irresistible economic boost. The KSS-3's air-independent propulsion bridges the gap between diesel and nuclear, offering weeks of submerged operation, ideal for Canada's needs. Partnering with South Korea allowed Canada to modernize its fleet without over-reliance on a single ally or entanglement in AUKUS politics. South Korea's proven track record and competitive pricing made the deal a practical, lower-risk alternative. For Ottawa, the timing and terms of the Korean offer made it easy to walk away from the high-stakes American deal. Canada's rejection of the US deal was a calculated move, shaped by political, economic, and military realities. The unpredictability of the Trump administration made a long-term, multi-billion-dollar partnership risky. The $20 billion price tag and long-term costs of nuclear subs would have strained Canada's defense budget for decades. In contrast, the South Korean offer was more affordable and promised significant domestic investment. Militarily, the advanced conventional KSS-3 subs met Canada's needs without the complexity and cost of nuclear technology. This decision asserted Canadian sovereignty, choosing what's best for its own interests, not just alliance expectations. By diversifying partnerships, Canada is taking control of its defense future, not turning its back on the US. Canada's decision is certain to strain relations with Washington, where it's seen as a direct rebuff to President Trump. The move could complicate cooperation on trade, security, and intelligence, as US officials question Canada's reliability. Allies in NATO and the Five Eyes may worry about interoperability and the future of joint defense projects. Yet some nations like France and Germany may welcome Canada's independent stance as validation of their own strategic autonomy. By partnering with South Korea, Canada signals support for a more multipolar world and opens doors to new collaborations. This decision forces Western alliances to rethink defense procurement, prioritizing cost-effectiveness and industrial benefits. Canada's submarine choice could set a precedent for how allies balance national interests with collective security. With this bold decision, Canada embarks on a transformative new defense path, signaling a significant shift in its military priorities and long-term strategy. By finalizing its landmark deal with South Korea, Canada is not only strengthening international partnerships, but also taking decisive steps to modernize its navy for the next generation, ensuring its fleet is equipped with cutting-edge technology and capabilities. The ambitious project will test the limits of Canada's defense industry, demanding innovation and collaboration, and will require careful planning at every stage, from advanced manufacturing to comprehensive crew training programs. Diplomatically, Ottawa must work to reassure Washington and its allies that a stronger, more independent Canadian military continues to benefit North American security and the broader alliance. This move reflects a broader global shift, with middle powers like Canada making bold sovereign choices and increasingly challenging the traditional dominance of superpowers. Canada's calculated gamble on strategic autonomy and a renewed focus on industrial self-reliance could fundamentally reshape its role and influence on the world stage. The world will be watching closely to see how the US-Canada relationship adapts to these changes and what this bold new direction means for Canada's other alliances and commitments. Canada's submarine decision stands as a defining moment in its history, a powerful example of a nation navigating the complex and shifting tides of global power, determined to chart its own course for the future.